Let me ask you something. What's in a name? Well, if your name is Ferdinand Butzi Porsche, it meant that you were the third generation in a family of car makers, of whom much would be expected. If the name was 901, the first car that Butzi designed, it meant that you'd be the source of some unexpected drama, but a whole lot of history. Hi, I'm Joe Kelly Jr. This is the Car Room Magazine's Playing with Cars. Like Butzi himself, the 901 was part of a strong, successful bloodline that still runs today. And like the machine, the model by CMC in 118 celebrates both the art of design and the magic of fine modeling. Man, I love magic. The 356 had put Porsche on the road, but by 1959, after 15 years of production, Porsche realized that they needed a fresh, new design to keep up their market share. They wanted to offer a few more amenities while keeping the basic character and rear-engine architecture that had made the 356 such a success. Unfortunately, sketches submitted by Porsche insiders, including the original designer of the 356, had failed to light any fires under Porsche management. There was a happy ending to the story. In 1959, Butzi Porsche himself put his hat into the ring, and the concept he penned was happily accepted by the senior Porsches. So Butzi and his crew worked through the Christmas holiday, and in late December of that year rolled out a full-sized mock-up. When the car debuted in 1964 as the 901, it was given rave reviews, and a bit of raving. French car manufacturer Peugeot owned the copyright to 3 number vehicle designations with a 0 in the middle. Porsche, who had a large market in France, saw the light and changed the name of the new car to the 911, but not before close to 90 units were sold as 901s. It's a very good thing that this car's been modeled by CMC. This maker's fanatical approach to detail and the light and operating features has brought out a mind-blowing scale image of this seminal machine. With a parts count of close to 980 pieces, the model's an incredible thing to behold, not just because of the spot-on job CMC's done with the car's profile and stance, but because of the simply staggering amount of deep detailing under its skin. That skin is awesome, free of paint flaws and wrought from a combination of cast, pressed, and molded pieces. Like all of CMC's work, you can actually perceive the model's hand-built nature. The panel fit is impeccable, and the installed pieces, from the headlights and taillights to the windows and trim to the multi-element real metal cooling grill on the rear deck, is so realistic and so well done that it rivals the one-off efforts of the finest modelers for hire. Detail pieces like the Porsche badge up front and the block lettering on the rear deck are beautifully scaled, flawlessly realized, and placed perfectly onto the model's polished, clear-coated finish. Metal wiper arms and real steel window frames join metal bumper sections and overriders to hammer home the model's hefty, hand-hewn feel. The basic features, opening doors, trunk, and deck, join the working suspension, operational steering, and a suitcase full of secondary features waiting behind each opening part. And here's where the model really takes the cake. Not so much because of the features themselves, but because of the amazing way that CMC's engineered them and integrated them into the model. Opening the trunk gives the first hint at what this jewel has under the surface. There's cast-in and detail-painted weather stripping, a detailed lock striker, and beautifully flocked and installed side panels. At the very rear is this photo-etched cowl vent, and if you look under the lid, you'll see these friction struts and a cool set of courtesy lights. Now pull the carpet out and the whole area really comes to life, and I mean that seriously. CMC loves to use real materials wherever possible to replicate the finer details of a modeled car, and boy have they thrown a parts party under here. Now, it starts with the removable spare, a unit that's actually been fashioned from stamped steel and wrapped with a neatly etched and cast tire. Pull it off the fuel tank and you'll see this miniaturized serial number plate, a ribbed pressed metal floor, and a bulkhead that's absolutely jammed to the scuppers with cables, assemblies, and ducts, all flawlessly installed and festooned with clamps, terminals, and loom. This is awesome stuff, and it's only the trunk. Pop the doors on this little Porsche and you'll see why they open so smoothly. The hinges are beautifully done. The inner doors have steel fastener detailing and sport real leather map pockets at their bottoms. The seats are covered in hide as well, with real textile centers and convincing hardware that allows them to tilt. Look into the door sill on the driver's side and you'll even see a replica of the deck release knob. No fooling. The flocked floor is equipped with all the right stuff, from the pedals under the dash to the heating vents at the sides. And look under the heavily detailed wood grain binnacle and you'll see even more pieces and things to play with. Up top there's a waffled headliner and working visors with what looks to be a real glass passenger side vanity mirror. Now, why am I not surprised? The 2-liter 6-cylinder oil and air-cooled engine is typical CMC, absolutely over the top in its scope and its execution, and so good that I want it on a pedestal so I can see every bit of it. Now, unless you're a brave soul with a truly amazing set of tools, this is the view you'll have to settle for. But settle is definitely not the word. This is among CMC's most fully realized engines ever. Steel, plastic, rubber, vinyl, and paint are tweaked into shape using techniques running from injection molding to metal casting to photo etching and hand bending. And the result is a startlingly real replication of the 130 horsepower Boxer, authentic to the delicate throttle rod and linkages between the twin carbs. The cooling fan wears a rubber belt at its hub, and the palette of parts finished with metallized surfaces, realistic textures, and gloss and matte blacks and silvers has been assembled with surgical precision and set into the car, just as in real life, from below. And that's where the balance of this remarkable bit of modeling can be witnessed firsthand. Turn the car over and you'll see painstaking replicas of the heat exchanger boxes, exhaust manifolds, and all of the incoming and outgoing lines, hoses, and ducts. Check out the metal clamps on the muffler. These guys aren't fooling around. The rest of the chassis lives up to expectations. The belly pan is pressed metal and the suspension up front, as on the rear, is fully articulated with all the same geometry and linkages as the real 901. There are brake lines, struts, shocks, and working joints that replicate the action and reaction of the full-size version. But that's not the neatest trick, kids. When you get the model, you also get this little tin. Inside is a set of 4 magnetically charged hubcaps and a tiny lug wrench. Yep, that's right. The hubcaps are removable, and so are the wheels, which are secured to the car with scale lug nuts. You can close your mouth now. I once told a buddy of mine that I was convinced CMC could model a lawnmower and still make it interesting enough to be collectible. I'm always impressed at this manufacturer's ability to completely amaze and engage collectors with noble materials, almost impossible engineering, and a build quality that's absolutely staggering at the price point. That talent is matched only by their savvy at choosing universally loved subjects to model, like this Porsche. At a price of $320 and available in other limited edition colors, I give this model my very highest recommendation. Well, that's it for this episode of Playing with Cars. For the Car Room Magazine, I'm Joe Kelly Jr. Thanks for coming down, and thank you for playing with cars. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, then.